I'm never wrong. I know you heard that before. I know you probably thought that yourself. Matter of fact, you probably even said it out your mouth, right? I'm never wrong. How can I be wrong? I ain't do nothing wrong. It wasn't my fault. It was their fault. It's funny how we think this about ourselves, or we think that we're never wrong, but we hate when someone else is never wrong, right? It's so crazy how we are when it comes to being wrong. We don't never want to be wrong. We think people are taking jabs at us, thinking that we're stupid because we can't do something, or just saying that we did something wrong. And to be honest, you know, I probably did this too, right? It's even hard for me to see in a lot of ways, or it's even hard for me to have seen in the past. But the funny thing is when I got closer to God, I knew I was wrong. It's funny how we think we ain't wrong, but then when we get close to God, it's like, I know I'm wrong. And it's so crazy because we hate being wrong, but we're so blind to what it does, right? We don't even notice that when we think we're not wrong, that we're extremely prideful and selfish. And I know you over there like, prideful and selfish. How am I prideful? Or how am I wrong when this happened, when that person did this? Well, let me tell you, man, we're prideful. When we think that we're always right, we are prideful, because you can't always be right. If you was always right, then you could never learn anything, right? When you can tell yourself that you're wrong about something, that means your mind and your heart is open now. If you think I'm not wrong, or if you think I know this, matter of fact, telling ourselves that I know this, or I know that I'm not wrong, we stop ourselves from thinking beyond what we think we know, or thinking beyond or looking beyond ourselves, right? If I think that I'm never wrong, how can I see what someone else is saying? How can I understand that person? If we only knew that thinking that we're never wrong actually puts strains on relationships. You know how many relationships that has destroyed? And it's extreme pride. Pride destroys relationships, marriages, families, jobs, businesses. It destroys your relationship with God. Because if we consistently think, I'm never wrong, or I'm not wrong, how am I be wrong? People not gonna come close to us. We can't even feel close to God because God can't get close to us. How do I know this? Adam and Eve did the same thing. It's in the Bible. When Adam and Eve sinned, did God not go to them? He did. And he went to them asking them questions. Adam, where are you? Eve, what have you done? When he asked them these questions, they blamed. Adam was like, it was you who gave that woman to me. Eve blamed it on the devil. But see, the funny thing is that God asked them a question. He didn't ask the ones that they were talking to questions. He wanted to see what they was gonna say, because this was after they did something. No one made them do this thing. And you might be fighting, yes he did. The devil ain't make them eat nothing. He only presented it. He said, here. He said, this is gonna do this and this is gonna do that. They took it and ate it. That's their fault. That is not his fault. So they blamed, they did not take responsibility. They said, I ain't wrong. It ain't my fault. It's their fault. And that's what happens when we think that we're wrong. We start to blame it on everybody else. It ain't my fault. It's them. I didn't do nothing. They did. It's you. It ain't me. But not understanding that you're straining this relationship. You're ending this relationship. You're causing deep heartache and pain. And you could do this to your kids too. Parents do this to their children all the time. Husbands do it to their wives. Wives do it to their husbands. Managers do it to their employees. CEOs do it to their employees. Like, it happens all the time. But one of the main things I want to focus on as well is that when we think that we are never wrong, we can't receive love, and we can't even give love. We can't give it. And we tend to make people around us not feel it. We tend to destroy everything. Never being wrong and being prideful is like sparking a match and then throwing it into a forest fire. Everything gets destroyed. Everything blows up. Everything, right? You ever heard the saying in the Bible, pride comes before destruction? That's what happens if we think we're never wrong. We're extremely prideful. We can never look at what somebody needs. We can never be understanding to someone. We can never forgive someone. Everything becomes harder for us. People don't feel loved around us. People don't want to be around us. And how do I know this? Look at somebody that you know that you thought was wrong. When you thought that they did something to you, you wanted to communicate with that person, but they didn't think they was wrong. How did you feel? Did you feel like you could talk to them? Did you feel like you was closer to them? Or did you feel like you couldn't talk to them? Did you feel like you was more distant and far away from that person? Matter of fact, did you feel like you even wanted to be around them? Tell me if I'm lying. This is what happens when we consistently think and act, because some people don't even say that they're never wrong. They just act like they're never wrong, right? They probably won't even say it out their mouth. But guess what? They act like that to people, and people can see it. Now, people don't even want them around them. But what happens when we start to learn that we're wrong? It's a big shift, a big old change that happens when we learn that, yo, you know what? That was my fault. I apologize. Oh, I did that? I didn't mean to do that. Instead of saying, I didn't do that because you ain't wrong. Instead, you say, oh, my fault. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't know that affected you. Oh, my fault. I apologize. What can I do for you? Like, I see where I did that wrong. What is it? What would be a better way that I can do that? Oh, God, I'm a sinner. God, I've done so much wrong in my life. I didn't know this, God. Please change me. Please help me to be more loving, more caring, more understanding, more forgiving, more selfless. This is what happens, right? If I could say I'm wrong, guess what happens? I'm more humble. When I can say I'm wrong, I can forgive more, I can love more, I can give more, I can be more understanding. People start to love me more. People start to feel more safe around me. I create a safe space for people because I'm not always jumping at it like, yo, I don't do anything wrong, or this ain't my fault. Who want to be around that? Who want to be around it? I'm not always right. And when I'm not always right, and see, it's not even the point about not being right. It's the point of looking past yourself. A prideful heart, a prideful mindset, someone who never thinks that they are wrong, someone who never takes accountability, someone who never looks in that mirror cannot be there for somebody else. They cannot do what someone else needs. They cannot see past themselves to look at what somebody else needs and to create relationships, to be a boss, to be a parent, to be a friend, to follow God, to just be a great human being. You have to acknowledge when you are wrong because you can't always focus on yourself. But no, I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong. But it's their fault. They got an attitude. They left me. No. You did that. I did that. I caused that. When I could have said, I'm wrong, instead I said, I'm never wrong. Or instead I said, it ain't my fault. I was prideful. But look, we don't gotta be prideful. We can say that we're wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Matter of fact, it's actually a good thing when we can say that we are wrong. You know what happens? Remember I said Adam and Eve blamed? Guess what happens when you can say you wrong? You can take the blame. And you know who took the blame? Jesus took the blame. He said he was wrong when he didn't do nothing at all. He took the blame to love somebody else. And then he taught us to take the blame too. But don't nobody want to take the blame because the world says it ain't your fault, it's theirs. Sometimes we could take the blame even if it's not our fault. And especially when it's our fault, we need to take the blame. I'm wrong. That was wrong. Because not everybody needs what I'm giving them. Not everybody feels good off of everything that I do. So they could communicate that to me and I can say that I'm wrong, right? I could definitely, now I'm not going to always be wrong and I don't always have to take the blame. But what I'm saying is it's okay to do that. You're not going to lose anything about yourself. You are not a bad person for taking the blame. I am not a bad person for saying that I'm wrong. It's okay to be wrong. You are opening love. You are opening doors of love. You are opening relationships when you can say you are wrong. You are blessing other people's lives. When you can say you're wrong, or that you made a mistake, or that you looked in the mirror and you see something that you can change for someone else, you are blessing someone else's life. You are helping someone else. You are providing peace into somebody else's life. You are providing an opportunity for that person to come to you. You are providing something that they need. They can actually see your genuine heart, and they can see God. They can see Jesus inside your heart when you're able to say, I'm wrong. Instead of fighting, instead of thinking that you're never wrong, it's okay to be wrong, man. Matter of fact, when you read the Bible is like a whole mirror telling you everything you did was wrong, right? And I know that's hard for some people, but that's a fact. Opening that Bible is like a mirror. It's like looking at yourself. It's like looking at a cracked mirror. And God is a fixed mirror, but he's trying to show you how cracked you are so that he can put you back together only if you allow him to, only if you follow him, only if you change your ways. So also another thing, when you're able to say you're wrong, people can correct you, right? God corrects you. So when you do something wrong, somebody can be like, yo, I don't like that. I wasn't feeling that. Can you do it this way? You're able to take that correction. God says he loves those who he corrects. You get what I'm saying? He loves those who he corrects. And the Bible also says that you have to love correction. Why? Because God corrects you. He makes your paths straight. Another thing is when you're able to say that you're wrong, guess what'll happen? You'll be less offensive to people. So that means things will affect you less. You'll be less offended when people say things and when they do things, and you'll be less defensive. You don't have to react in a defensive way because guess what? It don't offend you no more. You could look at it differently. It's almost like looking at a way to provide something for someone else instead of protecting yourself. Because if you never wrong, you're actually protecting yourself from something. I don't know why. And sometimes it might have happened in our past. But look, man, we're wrong sometimes. They're wrong sometimes. It's okay. Even when we don't feel we're wrong, it's okay to take the blame. It's okay to say, okay, I made a mistake. What can I do for you? You know what I mean? This shows that we are a better person. This shows strength. It's weak if I'm never wrong. That's a weakness. I ain't gonna front. You could feel some way. It is what it is. I love y'all, man. But at the end of the day, it's a weakness when you can't ever be wrong. It's a strength when you can be wrong. You can literally be humble. You can show humility when you are able to acknowledge your wrongs. God looks for that. He searches this in our hearts, right? And we can bless and help so many other people with everything that they're going through and got going on in their lives. When we are able to say we are wrong, again, it's not about saying I'm wrong. It's about being open. It's about acknowledging your faults. It's about being acknowledgeable towards yourself in the face of others as well. And when I'm able to do this, guess what happens? The person who has a hard time doing it, it starts to spill over to them. So that person that you want to understand you, that person that you want to communicate with that won't be open to you, that's consistently fighting you, try being wrong to them. And eventually, I guarantee it'll soften their heart because now you're the leader. It'll soften their heart and guarantee God will work on them and something good could come out of it. Even if something ends, something good eventually will come out of it. But anyway, yo, I wanted y'all to know this, man, because this is a big thing. A lot of us do this, man, and we need to know it's okay to be wrong. We need to know the benefits from it, and we need to know how it shows God's love and how we can love on others. But I love y'all, and I'm going to get at y'all when I get at y'all.